There is a power hidden in the unnoticed corners of your daily life, a force so subtle that many overlook it, yet so potent that it has the authority to remake you from the inside out. Every day, the world offers you the same 24 hours, and within those hours lies a sacred chance to not only move forward, but to grow deeper, to shift from the patterns that have kept you confined, and to step into the identity that was always waiting beneath the surface. What you do today, how you choose to respond to what happens around you, and the thoughts you allow to take root in your mind, all of it matters more than you may ever realize. You do not wake up fully formed. You wake up in the middle of becoming. And the difference between remaining where you are and becoming who you were meant to be is in the decision to engage that process with intention, humility, and courage. It begins with understanding that change is not something that happens overnight or on special occasions. It's something that must be chosen daily. The most extraordinary personalities are not the loudest, the boldest, or the most charismatic. They are the most consistent. Each day, they do something that builds on the last. They recognize that today's thoughts become tomorrow's mindset, that a single word can start to shift the trajectory of a relationship, that a pause before speaking can rescue a moment from destruction, and that even their failures are not ends, but invitations to return stronger and wiser. If you want to improve your personality every day, you must begin to see each moment as a tool, a divine chisel, if you will, shaping the contours of your character. And yet, it is not simply about doing more, striving harder. It is about surrendering to a higher standard. You cannot form a diamond by forcing it into existence. It must go through time and pressure. Likewise, your personality, your real, authentic self, is not discovered in convenience or comfort. It is revealed when you submit your will to the refining process. That may mean choosing silence when provoked, choosing service when tired, choosing grace when wronged. These are the daily choices that create spiritual strength, emotional maturity, and magnetic authenticity. When you begin to walk in this awareness, each day becomes holy ground. Even the smallest acts begin to glow with purpose. A smile, a prayer, a word of gratitude, a deliberate act of forgiveness. These become sacred steps in the journey of transformation. And the more you walk in that light, the more others will see something in you they can't quite name but deeply admire. That something is not manufactured. It is revealed, and it was always within you, waiting for you to rise and begin. So today, do not underestimate the power of this moment, because in it lies the key to becoming someone greater than you ever imagined. The world is built not on massive, sudden upheavals, but on the quiet rhythm of small actions repeated over time. It is a law woven into the fabric of nature itself. The way a tree grows ring by ring, how rivers shape mountains not by force, but by persistent flow. And so it is with your personality. If you desire to become better, stronger, wiser, more grounded, then do not wait for a grand breakthrough. Look instead to the little things, the daily disciplines, the choices that seem insignificant but carry the weight of transformation. Because what you do in secret is what determines who you become in public. The truth is that greatness never begins as greatness. It begins as faithfulness in the unnoticed. Many people overlook the power of consistency because it lacks glamour. It doesn't attract applause. It's not viral, not dramatic, but it is the secret of all lasting growth. One kind word today may not seem like much. A single moment of patience, a solitary act of listening, a choice to speak with integrity. These seem small. Yet, repeated day after day, they carve into your character. They set your default settings. They rewire your emotional responses. Over time, they become who you are, not just what you do. Every small choice for good adds up, and eventually, they compound into something unshakable. You don't just change your behavior, you change your nature. Consider how quickly we tend to measure our progress by outward signs. We want immediate results, visible success, tangible outcomes. But personality development doesn't work that way. It works in the soil, in the dark, in the hidden places of the heart. You water it with habits, you expose it to light with truth, and you prune it with discipline. And then, in due season, what was invisible becomes visible. The person who trains themselves in humility will one day speak with authority that is not loud, but carries weight. The one who practices integrity in private will one day walk through storms with unshaken peace. The small things matter because they are the building blocks of your identity. They reveal what you value, what you fear, what you hope for. If you want to improve your personality, start by improving your moments. Start by setting small, daily standards that elevate you beyond your impulses. Catch your thoughts before they become words. Hold your emotions before they become reactions. Choose actions that align with who you want to be, not who you used to be. Personality is not shaped by one decision. It's shaped by 1,000 silent ones. In the end, it is not the size of your effort, but the direction of it. Every small step taken in the right direction builds momentum. And one day, you will look back and realize you have become the person you once hoped to be. Not through chance, not through performance, but through the steady obedience to the law of little things. So many people spend their energy trying to impress others, crafting a version of themselves that will be liked, accepted, or admired. They build personalities based on performance, what they think others want to see, rather than substance, which is rooted in what is true. But to truly improve your personality each day, you must move away from the exhausting pursuit of image and into the enduring strength of alignment. Alignment means bringing your daily thoughts, actions, and motivations into harmony with timeless principles. Truth, integrity, kindness, humility, and courage. It's not about pretending to be something. It's about becoming someone who lives from a deeper place of conviction and authenticity. When your focus is image, you're constantly adjusting yourself to fit the situation. You become a mirror reflecting what's around you instead of standing firm in who you are. But when you live in alignment, you become an anchor. Your presence is steady, your words carry weight, and your character becomes magnetic. Not because you're trying to gain attention, but because people can sense that what they see is real. True personality growth is not about acquiring traits that others find attractive. It's about shedding what is false and living from what is real. The world is full of noise, but very few people walk in quiet, unshakable integrity. Be one of them. Alignment requires self-examination. It forces you to ask, why do I speak this way? Why did I react like that? Are my habits building me or breaking me? These are not easy questions, but they are essential. Each day presents opportunities to practice living in alignment. When you tell the truth instead of hiding the lie, you grow. When you keep a promise even when it's inconvenient, you strengthen your internal resolve. When you offer grace to someone who doesn't deserve it, you refine your character. Every one of these moments is a chance to become more aligned with the person you were created to be. The beauty of alignment is that it creates consistency. You don't have to remember which version of yourself you showed to whom. You don't need to exhaust yourself maintaining a facade. Your inner world and outer expression are in agreement, and that harmony breeds confidence, peace, and power. That's why some people walk into a room and change the atmosphere without saying a word. Their personality isn't performative, it's grounded in something deeper. It's important to understand that personality rooted in alignment doesn't mean being perfect. It means being intentional. It means waking up every day and choosing to live by principles that elevate rather than degrade. It means prioritizing truth over comfort, character over convenience, and purpose over popularity. When you make these choices consistently, your personality becomes not just more likable, but more impactful. Because people don't remember the show you put on. They remember how you made them feel, and that feeling is rooted in whether your life is aligned or not. Every interaction you have is a reflection, not just of the world around you, but of the world within you. The way you speak, the way you listen, the way you respond to difficulty or disagreement. These are mirrors revealing the state of your heart and the maturity of your personality. You cannot hide your inner world for long because life has a way of drawing it out, especially in moments of stress, confrontation, or unexpected change. If you truly want to improve your personality every day, then you must be willing to look into these mirrors with honesty. Do not blame the reflection, change what is being reflected. Growth starts not when others change, but when you take full ownership of how you show up in the world. Many people live their lives reacting. They react to insults, to misunderstandings, to disappointments. Their emotions lead and their reactions follow. But personality does not flourish in reaction. It flourishes in response. The difference is subtle but profound. Reaction is automatic. driven by impulse, rooted in ego. Response is thoughtful, rooted in self-control, guided by principle. The more you respond rather than react, the more authority you gain over your inner life. That authority becomes the soil where a stable, trustworthy, and admirable personality can take root. To become the kind of person who responds instead of reacts, you must create space between stimulus and action. That space is called awareness. It allows you to observe your thoughts without being dominated by them. It allows you to feel emotions without becoming enslaved to them. And in that sacred space, you are able to choose your words, your tone, and your direction. Every time you do this, you train your personality to mature. You move from being unpredictable to being dependable, from being defensive to being composed, from being emotionally fragile to being emotionally intelligent. But none of this happens by accident. It happens through discipline. It happens when you wake up and decide that today you will not let circumstances dictate your character. Today, you will not hand over control of your peace to another person's behavior. Today, you will stand guard over your words, over your reactions, over the energy you bring into every room. That discipline, practiced daily, does something extraordinary. It rewires your personality to operate from purpose rather than pride. It makes you someone others can trust, someone they want to follow, someone who brings clarity instead of confusion. When you begin to live this way, you will notice that you no longer carry the need to dominate conversations, to prove your worth, or to defend your image. You become confident without arrogance, calm without passivity, and strong without aggression. Your personality becomes a force, not because it overwhelms, but because it reassures. Not because it demands attention, but because it brings peace. And in a world driven by reaction, your choice to respond with wisdom and restraint becomes a rare and radiant strength that draws others in and lifts them higher. There is a sacred purpose hidden inside every challenge, every conflict, and every unexpected detour. We often pray for growth, for maturity, but for transformation. But when the answer arrives in the form of hardship, we resist it, complain about it, or try to escape it. Yet the truth remains, personality is not shaped in moments of ease, but in the furnace of adversity. If you want to improve your personality every day, you must begin to see difficulty not as punishment, but as preparation. You must understand that the wilderness, the place of pressure, uncertainty, and discomfort, is not where you are abandoned, it is where you are refined. Every great figure in history, every wise leader, every person whose presence carries weight has walked through some kind of fire. That fire may have been betrayal, failure, loss, rejection, or prolonged waiting. But instead of allowing it to harden them, they allowed it to transform them. They let the fire burn away pride, ego, entitlement, and illusion, leaving behind something more authentic, more grounded, more resilient. That's how character is forged. That's how a shallow personality deepens. Not through applause, but through pressing forward when no one is watching, through doing the right thing when it's costly, through choosing faith over fear even when the outcome is unknown. If you only seek comfort, you will avoid the very places that could have made you strong. But if you lean into the discomfort, if you ask what the challenge is trying to teach you, you will begin to rise in ways you never expected. You will discover parts of yourself you didn't know existed, patience you never had before, compassion that didn't come from theory, but from surviving your own pain. Wisdom that wasn't learned from books, but from navigating storms you thought would break you. These qualities do not come easily, but they are worth every tear, every delay, every closed door. The key is to stop viewing trials as interruptions and start seeing them as divine training grounds. Each hard day is an invitation. Will you react with bitterness, or will you respond with grace? Will you give in to self-pity, or will you stand in courage and say, even this will make me better? When you begin to see hardship this way, you take back your power. You are no longer a victim of your circumstances. You are a steward of your development. You realize that life isn't happening A to all you. It's happening A for you to make you into someone more capable, more thoughtful, more whole. So when you walk through the wilderness, do not curse it, honor it. Let it do its work. Let it strip away what was weak. Let it reveal what is strong. And when you emerge, you will not just be improved. You will be transformed. Your personality will carry a gravity that only comes from someone who has faced the storm and learned to dance in the rain. And that more than anything else will speak louder than words and last longer than applause. We often speak of legacy as something distant, something left behind after we are gone. But in truth, legacy is not built in death. It is forged in life, in the choices you make today, in the way you speak, lead, forgive, listen, and rise. Your personality, though invisible in form, leaves a very visible mark on the world around you. It shapes the atmosphere of your home, the tone of your conversations, and the memory others carry long after your words have faded. To improve your personality every day is not just a private mission, it is an act of legacy building in the present tense. Each moment is a seed, and whether you plant bitterness or kindness, selfishness or service, that seed will grow into something that outlives the moment. Most people think legacy is tied to achievement, status, or influence. But the most powerful legacy is character. It's not what you built with your hands, but what you built into others through your presence. The world is not changed by perfect people. It is changed by authentic people, those who live their truth daily, even when it costs them. People who are honest when lying would be easier. People who stay calm when the room is heated. People who show love when it's not returned. That's the kind of personality that lasts. That's the kind of life that resonates far beyond its timeline. Every conversation you have is an opportunity to reinforce or rewrite your legacy. Are you known for being dependable, thoughtful, generous? Or are you remembered for anger, pride, or avoidance? The good news is that nothing is set in stone. Every day you get to choose what your legacy will become. And you don't need a stage, a platform, or a massive audience to do it. You only need intention. You only need to be faithful in the small things. Because how you do the small things reveals how you will handle the big ones. One of the greatest dangers to personal growth is waiting. Waiting for a better mood, a more convenient season, the right people or ideal conditions. But the truth is, you don't need to wait to become who you were designed to be. You only need to begin. Today is not preparation for the real thing. It is the real thing. The way you respond to today's challenges, the way you treat those around you, the way you carry yourself when no one is watching. That is your legacy in action. Every little improvement you make to your personality adds to the weight of your influence. So live with urgency, but not anxiety. Live with purpose, but not pressure. Understand that each step forward, no matter how small, contributes to a life well lived. A life marked not by how many people followed you, but by how many were better because they knew you. Let your personality reflect the kind of legacy that brings light to dark places, strength to weary hearts, and truth to a world drowning in imitation. Because in the end, you won't be remembered for what you pretended to be. You'll be remembered for what you consistently chose to become. The journey of becoming the best version of yourself is not marked by one dramatic transformation, but by the slow, steady, and intentional movement forward. One day at a time. You may feel tempted to wait until you feel ready, until the timing is perfect, until your circumstances are more convenient, but that moment rarely comes. The secret, the truth hidden in plain sight, is that you don't need to be extraordinary to start. In fact, you become extraordinary because you start. Improvement, especially in personality, isn't a switch flipped in a moment. It's a path walked in obedience, in silence, in persistence, when no one claps and no one notices but you. Every day, you are writing a line in the story of your life. And while you may not control every page, you do control the pen in your hand today. You decide if this chapter will be one of stagnation or one of growth. Will you choose to walk in patience instead of reacting in frustration? Will you listen more deeply, love more freely, speak more truthfully? These are not grand acts, but small decisions that accumulate like bricks building a house. The most beautiful, solid, admirable personalities are not flashy. They are foundational, built with consistent, quiet strength rooted in purpose. The danger lies in underestimating what consistency can accomplish. People often look for big breakthroughs, but overlook the miracle of simply showing up to themselves every day. Show up with self-awareness. Show up with discipline. Show up with the intention to be a little more gracious, a little more wise, a little more in control of your attitude. Over time, you will find that the parts of your personality that once held you back, fear, impatience, pride have started to loosen their grip. And in their place grows confidence, clarity, and compassion. You must understand this. Becoming isn't about doing more. It's about being more. It's about living from the inside out. It's about aligning your actions with your deepest values and not just your temporary emotions. That's how you become someone who is admired not for what they have, but for who they are. Your growth becomes contagious. Your presence becomes healing. And not because you're trying to impress anyone, but because you've done the hard work of changing from within. When others look at you, let them see someone who didn't wait for permission to grow, someone who didn't need applause to act with integrity. Let them see a life that radiates strength, not because it was perfect, but because it was faithful. You are not defined by your past or by the weaknesses you used to carry. You are defined by what you do with today. And if you choose, today can be the beginning of a new kind of legacy. A life not wasted on waiting, but spent on becoming. One honest, intentional, aligned day at a time. That is how true transformation happens. That is how your personality becomes a force for good in a world desperate for authenticity.